Welcome to Sportsbet Daily at oddsmarket.com. It's NFL Week 13. Well, Week 12 was a week to remember. Two sides came flying through and put themselves up as serious Super Bowl winners or Super Bowl candidates. First of all, the 49ers. Well, they smashed the Green Bay Packers all over the show. And then on Monday, the Ravens said, we'll just take that notch just that little bit higher, and told everybody that we are the boys of the AFC. And I don't think anybody would disagree with them two sides. They look exceptional. Then we come to Thanksgiving. Yes, I hope everyone had a lovely time. Family, obviously. Then the NFL put on a spectacle. Jason Garrett playing zone with no pressure on the opposing quarterback, and then wonders why he gets beat when they average over 5 yards a rush and 10 yards a pass. And last night, if you watched the live line, I'll go back and watch it again, because there is some absolute comedy gold on there, and it's all at my expense. Eli Apple, there'll be no Christmas card for you this year from me, because you are the most penalised pass interference defence player in the league. Over 57 yards of penalty yards last night. Absolutely killed me. And then 3 onside kicks recovered by the Falcons. Never seen that before in my life. And it all added up to pain for pain. I was sitting there 17 points up with 5 minutes to go and ended up with nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anyway, let's kick on. It's week 13. And we said about the Baltimore Ravens and the 49ers. Lo and behold, they meet this weekend in what can only be, well, it's an absolute clash of the Titans. Obviously, I've got Jay and Spread with me. Gentlemen, what a week of NFL.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Spread, what were your thoughts about the Ravens and the 49ers?
All right, so Ravens 49ers, this was a tough one when the line first came out, but the line moved so far to San Francisco's favor, I had to take it. So I'm sitting on the +6. My main concerns in taking this pick is that the 49ers have struggled against mobile quarterbacks such as Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray. And boy, as fast as Kyler Murray is, Lamar Jackson is that much faster. So I do have some concerns. But I still think that for a 10-1 team that should be 11-0 if they didn't miss a field goal, to be grabbing 6 points against any other team, that's just wild. It's almost just I just have to do it off principle more than analyzing the individual matchups. But I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to continue with 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, and I'm taking the 49ers +6 in the marquee matchup of Sunday.
Yeah, I was just asking you what you thought of their performances last week before we get on to the game spread.
Sorry. Well, no, I mean, there's really not much to say. I mean, both of them were dominating. I mean, can you, boy, the 49ers surprised me even more. You know, the Rams have had problems this year, but the Packers are a solid team, and for them to shut down that game that way, you know, I was already working on my NBA articles by halftime because that was just such a blowout. Both teams look fantastic, and it really sets up for a great game this weekend.
Jay, what a fantastic Thanksgiving day. Well, Thanksgiving week we've had, starting last Sunday, going into Monday, and then 3 games yesterday. The Bills, 9-3. Are you kidding me?
They are an enigma. It's really incredible what they did yesterday against Dallas. But I guess Dallas is not as good as we thought that they were. And as far as the Ravens and Rams game, I think that game said a lot more about the Rams than it did than the Ravens. The Rams are bad, man. Jared Goff looks lost out there. And they will not make the playoffs this year. They're going to go from Super Bowl to sitting home golfing.
Okay, let's kick off spread. Eagles -10 opened up at 7 at the Dolphins. Totals 44.5. Was 46.5. The money's come for the under.
Yeah, and I'm on the Eagles in this game. My idea here is we sit here and we've really been critical of the Eagles secondary on this show, but this was a depleted Eagles secondary. They had 3 injuries at the cornerback position. That's really tough to overcome. All 3 of those players are back, and now the defense looks more like the defense that we've seen the last couple of years. And another important One on the injury report is right tackle Lane Johnson being back. He really inhibited their abilities to point their attack in both ways. They were going a lot to the left behind Jason Peters. Now they can be a little more diverse. And having Lane Johnson back is big. So the one injury that I'm worried about that I saw this morning before we jumped on is Zach Ertz still didn't play. He's Wentz's favorite target and kind of his bailout guy on third down. I'm a little disappointed. I've already got in on the Eagles, so there's no turning back now. I was hoping Ertz would play. It doesn't look like that's likely. But still, even so, Alshon Jeffrey should be back. Jordan Howard's looking probable. I think that we see the Eagles bounce back game here. You know, Miami looked good in those nice couple games where they're being overlooked. I think teams realize that this team, even though it doesn't have the talent, they play hard. I think we'll get a nice prepared Philadelphia team. And boy, didn't they get a boost watching the Cowboys get whooped yesterday? That NFC East division is wide open for them. I see no reason for them to play around and not take this game seriously. I think they blow out the Dolphins and cover the 10-point spread.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've said for a few weeks now that the Philadelphia Eagles are playing Russian roulette with the Dallas Cowboys and making sure that everyone's fit. And when they are, we'll be ready down the stretch. They've got an easier schedule than the Cowboys. And now it's all going to be, in Philadelphia, it's going to be all on that game, I believe. And I think the Eagles will make it to the wild card. Jay, the Packers, -6.5 at the Giants. Total is 44.5 from 46.5. And again, they're coming for the under.
Yeah, I don't like to lay almost a touchdown on the road in the National Football League, but you know, as a matter of fact, I try to avoid it like the plague. But you almost couldn't have picked a better team for the Green Bay Packers to face off an absolutely dreadful performance that they had last week than this New York Giants team. It's the definition of what people are always talking about when you hear the term the spot warrants the Packers. It's the definition of a get-right game, right? So, I mean, the New York Giants, they can't do anything right. 25th and 27th in both offensive and defensive DVOA. Danny Dimes looked good for a game or two, but he's been pretty mediocre to poor the last 6 weeks. I think that kid has a chance to be solid as a quarterback, but he needs an offensive line and he needs weapons, and he has neither. So there isn't much on that offense to get excited about other than Saquon Barkley, and defense is key on him. Makes other players beat them, and nobody's answered the call to do it this year. So the Packers defense has slipped lately. Flash, you and I talked about how good they looked in the beginning of the year, but they're starting to look closer to the defense that they had last season, which is concerning moving forward. But I don't really think that matters this game. Aaron Rodgers should have this team in a good enough spot late to not get backdoored in the fourth quarter. So I don't really have an issue laying the number on the road this week. So give me the Packers. I'm on them -6.5.
Yeah, it's like London buses. You wait for one and two come along at the same time, because I do believe you had the Saints at -6.5 last night as well. That's two roadsides, two -6.5. And let's hope you have the same result, because I agree with you, the Packers. I'm looking at bounce back ability. It's a word that we use quite a lot in the UK for teams that get embarrassed. Have they got it? I think they have in this week, and I think they couldn't have picked a better opponent than the Giants. Okay, Jay, Bucks -1 at the Jags, totals 48 from 49, and there's 47.5 about. And this game started with the Jags as favourite, and now the Bucks are favourite.
The easiest winner that I had last weekend was that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team total over. And I'm going to go right back to it this week. The Jacksonville Jaguars came into this season with a defense that was projected to be the number one defense in the league, according to Football Outsiders. And when you think about how they've played through 12 weeks, that projection couldn't be further from the truth. They're currently 23rd in defense adjusted value over average, and they've looked lost as a unit for a while. I don't want to touch a side or a total in this game because at the end of the day, they're 2 4-7 football teams, and you have no idea what we're going to get from these teams late, who's going to make the play at the end of the game to get the job done. So when I looked at this game, I said, what do we know should happen in this game? And the answer to that question is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the last 8 weeks are averaging 31 points a game. The book continues to hang these team totals of 23.5, 24, and they've done it again this week. The Bucs team total is 24, and they're averaging 31 for the last 2 months. So what are we talking about? Give me the Bucs team total over 24 all day.
I mean, I'm with you, but I've gone with the other way. Actually, Bucs are now -1.5. I got the Bucs at +1. I mean, it means nothing. They're going to win or they're going to lose, but I mean, the money line's probably just the same, really, as the spread. But no, I'm with the Bucs. I think the Bucs will jump all over the Jags. Really impressed from last week. All we just hope that Jameis Winston goes through a game without chucking out the picks. Jay, I'm going to stay with you because this is my favourite bet of the week. Jets -3 at the Bengals. Totals 41.5.
Yeah, my New York Jets, they finally made it to the party, Flash. They've been lost all season long. They've been looking for directions. They finally got to the party. 3 weeks ago, the doorbell rang, and they're at the dance. The offense woke up 3 weeks ago. They've scored 34 points a game, 3 consecutive weeks in a row. Now, I know people, they're going to say they did it against the Giants, the Redskins, and the Raiders. But the Bengals are worse than all those teams. So I expect another solid performance this week. The Jets' offensive line finally giving Sam Darnold time to throw the football. And if you give him time to throw the ball, the kid will find the open man. The Bengals have given up. They want the number 1 pick in the draft so they can grab another franchise quarterback. Ryan Finley has looked terrible, since he's come in for Andy Dalton. And while I don't normally like to lay a field goal on the road with a 4-7 football team, I think that the spot warrants it. The Jets are finally locked in. It took them 12 weeks. The offense is moving. The defense is playing better. They held the Raiders to 3 points last week. So I'm going to hold my nose, and I'm going to lay a field goal against an 0-11 football team on the road. Give me the Jets.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with the Jets. They're my 2-unit play this week. I think they've got far too much for the Bengals. I'm even happy to give up even more than I think I actually give up the 3.5. Okay, I'm going to miss out, Rafa. I'm going to miss out the Browns and the Steelers because it's only I that wanted to speak to them. I'll just say quickly that I've gone with the Browns -2. The Steelers are banged up. Browns are on a roll. Odell Beckham Jr. finally getting his touchdown last week. But just skip that. Let's go to the spread. Rams -3 at the Cards, and the total's 47.5.
Yeah, and Jace talked about the referendum on the Rams that we saw in primetime, and I think that's true. They gave out these big contracts, and I think it hurt them on both sides of the line. I think one of the major differences between this year's Rams team and last year's Rams team is on the defensive line. I think the Rams are really missing Ndamukong Suh. I think that he forced them to not double Aaron Donald on every play. You watch right now, Aaron Donald, probably the best defender in the league, double teamed, sometimes triple teamed on every play. He's not able to make the same impact without Sue grabbing attention. And on the offensive line, they lost Roger Saffold. Doesn't seem much offensive guard, right? But their offensive guard's been turnstile since then. They get through in the middle, rush up the middle pressure. That's some of the toughest. You can't step forward in the pocket to avoid it. And we've talked before, Goff is only good when he gets protection. He's not able to get protection. I think the wheels have fallen off on this team, and I really like the Cardinals here. I'm getting +3 at home. Their offense has looked a lot better. Might be a high-scoring game because the Cardinals' defense isn't good, but basically I'm just fading the Rams. I think the Super Bowl hangover is too much. Their line is too depleted, and I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals +3.
And they're off a bye, so they're going to be fresh in their own backyard spread.
Definitely, good point. Thank you for reminding me of that one.
No worries at all. Let's move on then. Raiders +10 at the Chiefs. The total's 51, but it's come down from 54.5, Jay.
Yeah, this game might be a huge trap here, and I might be kicking myself saying, what on earth was I thinking? But I have to take the 10 points with the Raiders this week. I feel the least good about this game from out of all the games that I bet. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they have not looked right for a month and a half. They did everything that they could to give away that Mexico City game against the Chargers. Rivers threw, I think, 4 interceptions that game, and there they were at the end of the football game with a chance to win. It seems like the Chiefs cannot put anyone away comfortably. They have not won or lost by more than a touchdown since the middle of October. So now they're going to lay 10 points against a team that's 1 game behind them in the standings. I have to do it, Flash. I have to take the 10 here, especially because the Raiders are coming into this game after getting embarrassed by the New York Jets 34-3 last week. You know they're going to come with an inspired effort against a divisional rival off that game when they're only 1 game back in the standings. The Chiefs have a very hard time stopping the run, and who better to run against them than the best one of the best running backs in the AFC, in Josh Jacobs. The Raiders are going to try and keep Mahomes on the sideline. They're going to try to have long, sustained drives running the football. That should open the passing windows up for Carr. I would not be surprised if Josh Jacob goes over his carries prop this weekend because he's going to get a heavy load. So give me the 10 points here with the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people will be seeing your point of view and where you're coming from. I don't know about the Chiefs. I just think it's all about the W for them. If they go and blow them out, they blow them out. But, I mean, they've got to make sure that their key personnel stay healthy because they are certainly going to need it because there's a much of a muchness outside of the Ravens in the AFC. Spread, talking of the Chargers -3 were a pick'em and now they're at the Broncos and it's a solid 38.5.
All right, and so my main pick on this game is it's not for sure yet. I checked before we jumped on. Fangio has not announced for sure, but everybody seems to be under the impression that Drew Lock will make his debut. And usually I don't put a lot of stock into preseason, but if you watch Drew Lock in preseason, he looked lost against NFL defenses. And as we all know, coordinators don't give a lot of scheme away in preseason. It's usually vanilla. It's a straight cover 2 or a straight man-to-man, really easy reads, and he couldn't compete in that. I don't see what they could have done in the last 13 weeks. He was injured for a lot. He missed a lot of practice. Returned to practice 2 weeks ago. Should be cleared, but I see this rookie quarterback having big problems against the Chargers team that should be, and this is another one up in the air, but they could be returning both safeties, Derwin James and Adrian Phillips, back into the secondary. If they return to the secondary, combined with the rookie quarterback, I like the Chargers big here. I think this is a bounce back game for them. Like Jay said, it's not fun laying 3 points in the road, but I think the rookie quarterback just not being ready for the NFL warrants this position. So I'm taking the Chargers -3.
Yeah, I'm a bit uneasy as it goes, Spread, because we're not opposing each other in any of the games.
Oh, not yet.
When we're running out of games. Jay, it might have to be me and you then. Let's find out. Patriots -3.5 at the Texans, and the total is 45.5.
I've been high on this Houston Texans team all year long. Anytime we talk about them, we were talking about them last night, actually. And I always mention the Texans as the 3rd or 4th best team, and I'm not going to run away from it. So, listen, man, this New England Patriots team is not as good as their record indicates. I hate being one of those people that say that because I've never said that about another New England Patriots team before, but I really think this year that's the case. They have been the beneficiary of a ridiculous favorable schedule. I keep going back to it. Who have they beat this season? I went back and I looked this morning, right? What is their signature win? Right now, it's the Bills by 6 at home. Other than that, their best win is against 2 mediocre NFC East teams in the Eagles, and last week they beat the Cowboys at home by 4 points. How bad does that look now when you see what the Buffalo Bills just did to the Dallas Cowboys yesterday? The Texans have a real chance to win this game. I don't think the Patriots are going to stop this Texans offense. They probably have the best trio of wide receivers in the league with Hopkins, Fuller, and Stills. They have a workhorse of a running back, and they have a special kid at quarterback. What concerns me is the defense. The Texans' defense right now, slightly below average, but they have a couple playmakers on the defense. We know that. But if you're going to give me over a field goal at home against this team, I have to do it, especially until the Patriots prove they can beat an above-average football team by more than a field goal on the road. So I'm on the 3.5 and plus 3.5, and I would not oppose anybody taking a shot on the Texas money line.
Well, let me open up with the Texans money line. I've taken the Texans at plus 3.5. I think the wide receivers are back. They've got weapons. I think they'll test and spread the New England D. There's no pace whatsoever down the field from the Patriots offense. There's certainly problems with Edelman. I don't think he's 100% fit. And you take him away from Tom Brady, who doesn't look as if he's 100% tuned in. I think everything points to the Texans. I think you're getting points, but I'm quite happy to go on the money line. I think that the Patriots get beat here, so there's no need for us to carry on. We're both on the Texans. Let's see if we're licking our wounds come Monday night. Speaking of Monday night, what a game this is. Vikings plus 3 at the Seahawks. The total's 50. We're all going to have a bit of an input here, but I'll start you off. Again, I'm going to go Vikings with the points because the Seahawks don't blow anyone out. And I'm going to go Vikings money line spread.
All right, now we're finally against each other. I'm taking the Seahawks.
Hey!
Here we go.
Although you are in form, Spread. You are in form.
Yeah, I've been doing a little better lately. But what we have here is, Kirk Cousins in primetime. That was a big thing that we all faded. We thought that he dispelled it against Dallas. But since then, what are Dallas's results to prove that he really, he did perform in primetime, but that wasn't necessarily, a big win, kind of in hindsight, looking at what this Dallas team has become. And when it comes down to it, I think it will be a close game. So I'm picturing this possibility, 7 minutes to go, tie game. Who do you rather have? You'd rather have Russell Wilson over Kirk Cousins for sure. I think that if the game stays close, the Seahawks just have the chops to do it. It's going to be cold up there. They'll have the nice home field advantage. But my main reason I'm taking this game is I just think that Russell Wilson is that much better than Kirk Cousins. I'm taking the Seahawks. I'm laying the 3 points.
Jay, I've gone the Vikings. I like the under as well.
Yeah, Spread makes a good point, and I think it's a valid one. If this game is close down the stretch, which, judging on the Seahawks' history, it will be close down the stretch, you would much rather have Russell Wilson than Kirk Cousins. But aside from that, everything favors the Vikings. Adam Thielen probably comes back.
Yeah, he does by all accounts. Game. Yeah, he does.
Right. Him and Stephon Diggs might be the best 1-2 duo in the entire National Football League when they're healthy. They have, in my opinion, the best running back in football in Dalvin Cook. And this is a team that everybody takes for granted. They're 8-3. They're one of the best teams in the NFC. And only because Kirk Cousins is their quarterback, nobody thinks that they're legitimate. But he has had a really good year. I know that he crumbles under the lights a lot, but I don't know. I think there's just something different about this year's team. They're one of only 3 teams that are in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. The defense is legit. The only way that I can look is to take the Vikings plus the points, especially when you consider how close all these Seattle football games are. So I like the Vikings here.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of the books maybe go free and a hook, because I can see this being a 3-point ball game. I can see it definitely coming down the stretch. And as you said, Spread, if you're coming down the stretch with 7 minutes to go and it's tight, what about coming down the stretch with 7 minutes to go and you're leading by 17 and you still get done like I did last night? Oh, you find it funny. Oh, I'm glad you find it funny.
Spread, if you want to laugh, bro, you got to watch the last 25 minutes of Live Line last night. Because
I was
Flash,
watching earlier and I ate too much turkey and fell asleep.
I laughed so goddamn hard, man. My stomach, I woke up and my ribs were hurting me. Oh, it was hysterical. It was awful. Flash has the number 1 and number 2 worst bad beats since we've been on this show. He can't catch a cold, never mind a break. I mean, what happened last night was absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe Alvin Kamara let them get 2 back-to-back onside kick recoveries, and it was really 3 because they called one of them back. It was the most amazing thing I've seen on the football field in some time.
There was all sorts of things that I would like to just quickly bring up because we're obviously talking about NFL. First of all, the officiating last night. One of the line judges actually gave a touchdown, and the ball wasn't even in his hands, and he was a foot away. He's like pushed the ball over the pylon, and he gave a touchdown. Also, I'd like Eli Apple, if he was a soccer player, he would have been dragged off after the first quarter and told to go and watch in the stand and learn his trade. He's covering, he's wide receiver with his back to the play, and he just runs into him, just steamrolls into him. What does he expect? And then he's like, oh, it can't be pass interference. You get less for just abusing players. It's just an absolute joke. And then
he had like 70 yards in pass interference calls. Yeah. If he was in the studio right now, would you shake his hand, Flash?
I wouldn't let him in the studio. I'd give him a broom. I'd give him a broom and ask him to go and sweep the car park. And then when it's done, do it again. Because I'll tell you something. These coaches, they are a fraud if they're allowing him to play like this. Now, let's take away the pass interference calls and look at his coverage. Just a normal slant. There's 4 yards of separation. How? 4 yards? No, it's just wrong. I mean, half a yard's too much in the NFL. We're talking about top level players here. And if you've got a player who's meant to be on top of his game and he's getting 4 yards of separation, anyone who now plays the Saints, they're going to target him. Just target him. He'll either give you a pass interference or it'll be a completion. So just keep playing on him. I would do that all day. Just keep going back. Simple as that. Anyway, that's my rant over. Listen, boys, thanks. Spread, have a great weekend, apart from obviously the Vikings and the Seahawks Monday night.
Yeah.
I look forward to that. You've just given me a load of confidence, in fact, for Monday night. So I look forward to that. I might sleep over the weekend. Jay, don't be shaking your head. You know it's true.
I defend you every time, Spread. Flash is just he's relentless. He's like a dog with a bone.
Yeah, but there's much love. There's much love between us three, and that's why the banter is exactly that. It's banter, and we end up smiling at the end of it. Listen, Spread, have a great week this week, like last week. I think you was 5-1 last week. Jay, you seem to have a great week every week, and I'm due one, so I look forward to it. Have a great weekend, gents, and thanks for your time.
See you Monday, buddy.
See you soon, boys. So that's Jay and Spread Astaire going through week 13 of the NFL. Looking forward to Monday night, Vikings versus Steelers. And before that, don't forget, Super Bowl prelude, 49ers versus the Ravens. You take care.